In fact, hey, you know what? If you aren't subscribed, maybe you should try it. I hear it's quite fun. There's definitely going to be plenty of people in the comments telling you that it is fun, so go ahead and subscribe yourself. If you are already subscribed, thank you. You are an absolute gem. But you know what you should do now? You should put on a monk outfit, go out and convert someone else. Make them subscribe too. Share the love, share the videos, as I'm going to share the action with you. As we have got one live here. I won't even know the outcome. I love these ones. Yes, we've got Eerie versus Soup. Now, I know what you're thinking, guys. Eerie, we've seen him have some rough ones on the channel. He's featured once or twice already. There's no way he loses to Soup, right? I mean, it's soup. It's literal soup, right? It's been melted down, or whatever the hell it is, into nothing, into gloop, right? It's not even a tomato anymore. It's soup. How does someone lose to Soup? Well, you say that. A lot of people have lost to Soup, folks. Soup is clearly not just soup. No, someone is inside that soup. There is a Smurf. It is a Smurf, and there is someone hiding in that soup like a Delta Force operative waiting to pounce out of water and stab someone, right? Is it Marine Lord? Is it Kelazor? Is it Cell? Who the hell it is? I do not know, but I do know that they are 15th right now on the leaderboards of 1,857 ELO rating. 161 games played, 74% win rate. Poor Eerie, then. Is he doomed? What's going to happen to him? Has he stumbled into the trap? Has he arrived in the kitchen? He's seen this beautiful, hot bowl of soup. He smells it. Ah, it smells so good. But as soon as he gets close to it, like a goddamn horror movie, a knife is going to come out straight for his face. We'll have to see if he can deflect it quick enough, because he isn't quite on the same level in terms of the rankings, right? Eerie, at the time recording, 151st in the world, 1643 rating. Still a respectable number, 285 games played, 54% win rate. Eerie should give us quite the show. The question is whether he's going to read the opening correct, because the opening can be wonky for Mongols up against Delhi. This isn't quite Mongolian Heights that we've seen a lot of Mongol players suffer on, but Delhi could still be a powerhouse on this map, as it is going to be Danube River. Danube River, of course, with that curve, that longer journey, means that usually we see a lot less early aggression out the Delhi fishing fleet than we're used to on, say, Confluence and Mongolian Heights. And this gives room for Eerie to do this. And this is the thing. This is why I think Mongols are actually a lot better, ironically almost, on Danube than they are on Mongolian Heights. Mongolian Heights, they can actually get caught off guard, maybe out of position, and maybe, like, you know, spearmen come out from the Delhi player and he gets across before you can put these outposts down. But Danube is a little bit deeper of a map, and it does give you this breathing room to get docked down and then also start plopping outposts. And then you can still control the kind of central network, because remember, on Mongolian Heights, it's a long river, one way, across the map. The interesting part about that detail is it means that when you begin these outpost networks, they have to crawl all the way across. But the cool thing about this Danube River, the new iteration of it at least, is if you actually just push outposts now to the center, you can immediately branch across to where his docks are, and there's nowhere else that the Delhi player is going to build, right? On Mongolian Heights, we've seen players build all the way up and down the river. On this map, you have this small chunk of river, right? You have half the real estate compared to Mongolian Heights. So cool detail. Looking forward to see how it plays out in the early phase of the game. As we said already, big difference compared to other maps. The Delhi player isn't even trying to aggress towards his opponent yet. And this will give much needed breathing room. Soup already halfway towards the required quantity to get teched up. Remember, if he does get teched up here, he's going to be able to match up against the Dows quite effectively. Remember that the Dows cost more. Light Junk's 120 wood, 90 gold, compared to the Dows at 180 wood and 90 gold. And very similar stats, mind you. So shouldn't really suffer too much if you're the Mongol. By the way, if someone does happen to know who Soup belongs to, do let me know. I know that there's a weird kind of back and forth with a few different Soups. I remember after Soup started to appear, there was Undone Soup, which, for reference, Undone Soup hasn't been played on in 15 days, but got to 19th in the world. And then I think there was another Soup, but I can't find him on the leaderboards right now. So just keeping the memes going. I think that's why a lot of people thought this was Marine Lord and whoever official anti-kick W was. But I haven't seen Marine Lord playing on a Soup account, so presumably not him. There we go. With the outpost down, scout in position. You could play into mass scouts early, but I don't think I'm going to see that over Eerie. Eerie, This is another thing. It's almost like he's just scarred from his experiences. Remember, guys, when we featured Mongols getting absolutely brutalized by Delhi, the most obvious one was one on Confluence, where it was Eerie versus 3DB. And even though Eerie played into the early dock and didn't go Uvu at all, he still got completely bum rushed by the fishing fleet. If you want to see that one, by the way, that video is on the YouTube channel. And you can see how it kind of went downhill. But we've seen other players who, they go for the Uber first, and then they still lose out on the water. They lose out even more, right? So Eerie has this prioritization of dock first with his surplus wood at the beginning, instead of waiting longer and giving your opponent an opportunity to build up a fishing fleet that can run you through. By the way, the knock-on effect of doing this, it does mean that you'll get your tech up quicker. I think that's why I'm a really big fan of players that do this move, especially on this map. If you were to build the Uvu, remember that you would then be slowed down and get your dock out, which means your initial fishing fleet is slower to get out, which means that you don't reach this critical mass that start returning good amounts of food, right? So instead, you're looking, for the cost of an Uvu, you're delaying your tech up time by between half a minute to a minute, I'd say, on average. And that's why Eerie does this opening instead. And I'm a big fan of it. I think the fishing fleet's more or less matched, right? It's 10-7. Okay, so a little bit behind for Eerie. But Eerie building the second dock now, something that Soup isn't doing. Soup isn't ready for tech up yet either, remember. He's building the racks. Actually, in credit to him, he's almost done with it. I'm surprised. Soup should be a little bit further behind than this. I was trying to see what the difference was. Spawn was reasonable. Nothing crazy, though. So really well played by Soup to actually still get the tech up and also afford a racks alongside it. This overall is really impressive. I was looking across at Soup's base, expecting him to still be waiting just for the surplus resources. You can see how much he's actually saved as well. So overall, Soup's opening was fantastic. I kind of wish I was just scrolled over it the entire time. But we had some interesting points around Eerie's side of things, right? And now Eerie, with that tech up, with 2 docks, should be able to push out and push across. And that is at least the sacrifice that Soup's made, right? Soup, because he went for this racks, he doesn't have the wood for that second dock. And even if he built it, he wouldn't have surplus wood to build units. In fact, he hasn't even built a single military unit yet. He's doing this instead. Look, he's moving across to the Palisades. This is such a good play from Soup. Yes! Why fight right now? Because remember, Delhi, they're weaker in feudal than most civs are. The way that Delhi appears strong in feudal is an immediate hit in feudal, right? Where they immediately use that fleet. And I just realized we have music playing the whole time. Well, this is annoying. That's going to invalidate this. I don't think I'll be able to upload this one now. That's a frustrating one. Damn it. Apologies for that, guys. I guess we'll continue anyway, because this is at least an interesting game. If you enjoyed the vibes, by the way, we play those vibes when we're AFK or when we're starting the streams live, so you always got that. Knew I shouldn't have given people that AFK music this time. But no, I'm definitely going to commentate this one because I think this is already proven to be a very interesting matchup. What the Delhi player has done here is he's absolutely prevented aggression on the water until Castle Age. You can't breach this. It takes so many units to push through because remember, 50 range resistance means you're hitting for 1 damage each shot. So now that the Palisades are in place, you've got a safe economy. Soup doesn't have to even engage militarily until Castle on the waterfront. And that's a cool edge to give yourself. Big mistake by Eerie, I feel like. Eerie should have had some outposts going down to kind of prevent this from occurring. And as a result, now he's at a disadvantage. I think Soup's economy is definitely scaling a lot better. In the meantime, we do see Eerie trying to be a little bit frustrating, but you can't really do much when there's already spears here. I need to see something impressive, some sort of Vavavoom factor, right? Because I think, yeah, oh my god, no, this is not the, this is the reverse of a Vavavoom. You have 4 scouts, sir. You need to use them sooner than this. Oh god, Eerie, this hurts. Yep, yep, there it is. Turns around, walks away, shakes his fist. Right now, he's got about the same success rate as Robotnik does against Sonic, because this is not looking good to open with. Now, Soup already getting the Palisades down, giving that defensible location. Eerie. I don't know what you do here. Not immediate aggression anyway. He's going to try. At least with the scouts, he can burn through this at a reasonable rate. Question is, where's Soup going to be when this happens? Does he compete? He doesn't have enough for a tech up just yet. I think Soup wants to actually get up to Castle before he even tries to contest, though. Now, he could palisade here and give himself a secondary fallback. He's only got fishing boat still, so I don't think Soup wants to fight right now. Instead, he's going to drop the outpost. This is a much better play. I like this. And he'll back the fishing fleet away. So this is going to give him a choke point that Eerie can't breach through, right? He could have done this with a forward outpost, but he didn't want to do that because remember, the difference was that he built this palisade with a spearman. He didn't use a worker to do so. So instead, now the village is going to build double outpost here, and it should be good enough that if you try and drive by past it, you'll lose a few of these light junks. And also, it means that the fishing boats can then come back towards you, and there's the palisades as well. So yeah, no way through now. So you push Soup back, but he already got value, right? His response hasn't been as invested as you are. He invested a little bit of wood into the palisades and now 200 wood into outposts. Meanwhile, you per light junk on the wood front have vastly exceeded that, right? With 120 wood on each of these and then the 90 gold cost per light junk. There you go. Pushes in. We get the bad news. The villies have garrison because the spearmen aren't here right now. And the tech up's underway. Compound of the defenders being built. Eerie isn't ready either. He almost has the food. He'll be able to now tech up. But I do think that Soup has a lot more value. Remember that power spike we talk about with the deli? Once you hit into the castle, with Compound of the Defender, it's 10 times more lethal than House of Learning ever was, right? Because Home Blades, even before it didn't get nerfed, it still took a few minutes to research. Meanwhile, once you hit into Castle Age as Deli, you have an immediate booster to go forward and do things and to gain ground that you'll be able to hold, courtesy of dropping stone walls with your military units. It looks like they should be matched on the tech up timing. This could work slightly against Eerie because he has a fleet that can be sunk, meanwhile Soup doesn't. But 1.62 is decent enough to keep away from boom ships. So then it comes down to the other detail, the detail that Delhi lose every day of the week, which is War Junks versus Baglers. I really do hope that Soup doesn't play for the sea. Instead, he needs to play forward land. And he's already moving in to wall this area in. So trying to delay his opponent, maybe take control of the sacred sites, kind of choke his opponent in a bit, and give himself a forward base to operate from. Because if you do turn this into a sea battle, right, if that's what decides this game, I just don't like your odds against the Mongolians. Mongols are just too strong. War Junks are the best attack ship in the game. Palisades go down. Now he knows he doesn't have to worry about on land. And that is what has me a bit paranoid. Now I'm just getting more convinced he's going to try and play into it. It's going to be explosive dows. I'm fine with this as an opener. I just don't want to see him going into the attack ships. If he ever goes into an attack ship, I'm going to shake my head and I'm going to thump my head into the keyboard. You'll hear it audibly. And you'll also hear my cries, because I probably will go full head smash. I've watched too many Bagler spammers lose games, and it's actually starting to break my heart. It's almost like DD trying to see what this button does, right? And I'm Dexter. We're all Dexter as we watch and we go, no, don't push that button. Soup. More spearmen coming out. Finally switching over to the man-at-arms. And this will allow him to start stationing the stone walls, right? With the defenses, I don't think it's about controlling the strait, though. You need to move past that and pressure into the base. That's what you're really looking for. But look at the size of this military district from Eerie. Eerie is ramping up quickly. That's going to be 4 racks, 2 archery ranges. He's going to apply a lot of pressure on land. And right now, he outdoes that which Soup produces. Soup only has 2 racks, one of them with a Scholar Garrison inside, doubling its speed. And while he will have the static defenses to rely upon, he hasn't started placing them yet, right? Not the stone walls anyway. So he's missing his window. And that has me a little bit concerned. Meanwhile, explosive Dow's pushing out. Can't take it out, so no mobility advantage for Eerie in the next fight. And the Dow, will it get close enough here? Nope. He tried to get the manual detonation range, but Eerie, quick to just weave away. And a new dock now going down for the Mongol player. But here come the stone walls that we were looking for. With the stone wall towers in place as well. Nice positioning to hold that choke point. And he needs to begin the crawl. Soup definitely has enough stone coming in. You can see he's actually dragged 4 people across. That's actually ample for the moment to keep you going. Remember, the stone wall pieces, it's 11 per, and then the tower is 150. Usually those are 200. But you have to remember, Compound Defender doesn't just allow your troops to build out in the field these stone defenses. It also means that all stone buildings, or all stone costs relating to buildings and placements, are 25% cheaper. And this is the big deal breaker one. He gets these walls down, he hunts your fishing economy. This is where you have to be careful if you're Eerie. He's just waiting. There we go. Has the stone finally start building it. Income is sustainable, so he'll be able to keep affording these per minute. And I don't think... Does Eerie not... Eerie sees this. He's just not reacting. He's pulling back some of the fishing boats now, but obviously there's only so much room around these fishing points. There we go. Defense in place. Already has his Juicy Springald sniping away at these guys. Takes 3 shots to kill, so won't be able to get rid of any fishing boats, but is making it harder now for Eerie to gather. I think his goal here is to push Eerie's fishing economy to the front, so then it's exposed to boom ships if he ever gets past this junk fleet. This junk fleet that Eerie always has to be paying attention to, or Soup will sink him. And Soup might be in with this one. Good hit. Sinks 1. So only 3 junks now left. Fight on the land in the meantime. Man-at-arms are there for Eerie, and Eerie does have that movement speed to chase down. Remember, 1.29 tiles per second on these man-at-arms. But now, Soup says, I don't have to come to you. You have to come to me. He gathers up both of these sacred sites. He's building the stone walls around them. He's going to start to pin in next to these and force Eerie into an uncomfortable situation. I don't think this is uncomfortable for Eerie, though. He already has 12 man-at-arms. He's outnumbering you. He's outproducing you as well. His economy is safe and more stable. He has access to a longer slog of river to fish on than you do as well. Overall, I don't feel like Eerie is losing this game. The gold trickle is going to be good for Soup. It's an extra 400 a minute from both the sacred sites. But outside that, I don't know if you're going to have enough defenses to hold. Like, the battering rams are already being built by Eerie. Eerie needs to move fast, though. The longer he waits, the more defenses go down, and the more chances Soup has of closing this out. And another one of these Delhi players just not utilizing the composition to the fullest. I like the idea of the Stonewall Towers, but why are you not building crossbows in this situation? Crossbows would be fantastic. You're up against man-at-arms. Remember, on the walls, you also get that bonus range of +2. You'd be able to absolutely annihilate the Mongol forces if you had some composition to this other than just melee. But we'll see how well it holds. Eerie pushing in. Mangonel's shot, scaring him away. Nice move there. Remember, Soup didn't invest in Mangonels. He used everything to get the battering rams out right now. And no boom ship. A boom ship right here would have changed everything. This army would have been wiped and you would have been able to clean up the sacred site. But because he didn't go into demo ships, he's in a little bit of trouble. Mangonels are going to be sniped out by a small group by Eerie. And Eerie actually winning this out now. Pushing his opponent back. Mangonel wasn't able to stay close enough. Stonewall Tower almost gone to the battering ram, and Soup is being repelled from the center island. Just too many crossbows, and it comes down to exactly what we were talking about. Soup, another Delhi player, baited into the pit of despair. As he sees this, he sees, oh, the power of stone walls, I'm going to do that. But he doesn't diversify his units. Spearmen are simply there because they were there to begin with, and then after that, it's just man-at-arms and Mangonels, and that's just not good enough. And as a result, we're seeing a decap in the south, in fact, as he snuck all the way across here. And these stone walls by Soup, does he realize his opponent's already inside? I'm not sure he does. And Eerie, well, this is the other problem. When you surrender that hole, look what happens. Eerie goes, oh, wait. Yeah, a tower's there. That means I can go on the wall. This is my territory now. What's up? And Soup, you need to get big gains in this next fight. Because Eerie is obliterating your defenses here. He's already decapped you in the south, so he's reset that condition. You still need another 10 minutes to win. And right now, if we look at the scaling side of things, yeah, Eerie up on the food, and they're pretty much matched everywhere else, right? So Eerie is pretty comfortable in this state of the game as it stands. And that step readout is going to ramp him up again as he gets it in a position. Go. Another one of the towers does fall. Soup. Now with quite a few Mangonels. And that is the one concern for Eerie. He hasn't counted out the Mangonel threat. The crossbows are good for the man-at-arms line, but he doesn't have Springalds to snipe out the siege weapons. For now, Soup is going to back up. And no movement speed buff anymore. Big mistake. Eerie, he never extended the network. There are no outposts here at all. He's not getting that movement speed juice. And it means he just has to run away. And now he's in trouble again. They recap the sites in the south now. And this time it's pinned in. There's no way to access it. Eerie. It was starting to look good. But the failure to actually keep an outpost network crawling, to maybe keep a trickle of units out and diversify into siege weapons means that he is at risk of losing this now. And wow, he actually calls it. I think this is premature, but it's definitely heading this way. Eerie makes a big mistake in not countering out the Mangonels, whether it's going into, for example, Lancers or getting some Springles out, because remember, you can build them out in the field as the Mongols. You have options available to you. And Eerie, I think another trick he missed here is when the fight was pulled towards him, boom ships. Build a demo ship, wipe the army, and then it's even easier to push through. But Eerie, it just seemed like he never secured the grounds he held. Part of that being to the fact that Stonewall Towers are in place. But even after he eliminates them, he doesn't take that opportunity to drop an outpost, which would have changed a lot of this dynamic, right? Because it gives him a lot more mobility. It would have also potentially given him an option to go in Springles that would be able to actually chase down his targets. In the end, he doesn't do any of this, ends up forfeiting over way too much ground and way too much time to Soup, who's gathering a much better rate on the gold front. Because although you have the step readout, he now has both Sacred Sites trickling in 200 each per minute. And that gives him the edge to push out more Mangonels than you'll be able to contest with. And the fact that you don't have gold surplus with wood at that point means you're never able to actually grab enough Springles to overwhelm your opponent. Fantastically done by Soup. I do not know who this player is. I really hope to find out soon. I'm sure we'll find out in one of the coming videos. So make sure you subscribe and follow the journey for that. But for now, he remains a mystery. A mystery Soup does sound a bit dodgy, I'm not going to lie. But in this situation, it's been quite the treat. Thanks for watching.